Hi, my name is Sharyn Metez, and I actually was born and raised in Brentwood, and it was a great place to live when we were kids, and it still is. I don't think I'd want to live anywhere else. So when we were kids, there were about 2,700 people in Brentwood. Everybody knew everybody, and we were unified because the kids came in from the other schools like Knightson, Oakley, Bethel Island, and Byron. So we all had play days when we were young at our different schools so that we could get acquainted. And then by the time high school hit, they all came into high school. So we pretty much knew everyone. There were about 800 kids in the high school at that time, total. And growing up was fun. It was easier life, I think. Our parents were pretty strict. We didn't get in trouble because they'd know what was going on before we got home. And when we were teenagers, we were all able to work in the fruit. So I cut apricots for about 45 cents a lug box, made about $2 a day, and thought I was rich. So it was a good place to live. We just made lifelong friends, and I still have all my girlfriends from high school, and you know, everybody's moved here and there, but we all come back here. It's a good place to raise children. So I left for a few years when I got married, and then my husband said, we're going back to Brentwood for school for the kids, so we came back out here. So yeah, I was only out of Brentwood for about maybe 4 years total. But yeah, so my family, my mother grew up in Byron. I know you must be familiar with the barn that's on the Vasco Road that has the American flag. My grandfather built that in '38 as a hay barn, and my mom rode horseback to the school, and then when she came into high school, she took a bus. And so I'm part of the Armstrong family from here. And anyway, it was just a very good place to grow up. People were friendly. My dad was a volunteer fireman. They had a club that was called No Host, where everybody got together and had a few drinks and a dance, and dancing on a night for something to do, because when we were kids, there wasn't a lot to do. You could be in Rainbow Girls, but there was a show. The show was still here, but there wasn't a lot else. We didn't have a lot of other activities. So, but we made our own. We could play in the fields, and my mother would whistle when it was time to come in for dinner. And so yeah, it's been a lovely place, and I think that the way the city's gone, we love all the parks. My grandchildren live here, and everything is, it's a good place. So my mother went to Liberty, I went to Liberty, my son and my daughter went to Liberty, and my grandchildren are now in Liberty. So it's been quite a long adventure. There used to be there used to be a lot of bars in town when I was little, and then those eventually kind of phased out, and they opened other restaurants and different things. So now it's great because you don't have to go out of town for shopping or for food or whatever, you know. And yeah, and all the people always come out in the summer to pick the fruit, and they still do. And when we were little, the Lions Club put on what they called a Carnique, and it was awesome. And at the end of the night, they had fireworks, and we all laid out on the lawn at the high school and watched the fireworks. And they had corn on the cob. It was 10 cents an ear. Everybody had 10 ears. And they had a big barbecue chicken deal at that, and they had all these booths with things that you could win, including live ducks. We won a duck. It was called Quack-a-Roo, and we had it for a long time, even though we lived in town. So anyway, we had that, and then high school, our ball games were a big deal, football games, and we had a big rivalry with Antioch. And so when I was in high school, I was a song leader and took part in a lot of activities, as we all did in those days. A lot of clubs and this and that to get acquainted with other kids. So What else? And then, of course, the Corn Fest took over later for quite a few years. And everybody went to all the firemen's balls that were around here. The firemen's ball was a big deal. But in those days, you could open your trunk and have your booze in there and have a drink in intermission, where now everything's stricter, of course, and for a good reason. But those are some things that I remember. And there's lots more, but I would have to take your whole day. So I don't know what other events. My uncle was constable here for a long time, and I remember him taking us to see the little jailhouse that was in the alleyway, probably so we wouldn't get in trouble. It was a little tiny place. And I think that's it. There's so many nice parks here, and they've always had activities that are beneficial to kids in the community, and I think it's even more so. And now they've done the improvements since the pandemic with the outside eating, and I think it's all really a plus for our town. So.